Hello everyone, welcome to the Spooky Noodles Podcast. Today we will be covering the history of Yōkai. Before I get too deep into this, I want to apologize. Although my preview from last week's episode still mostly works, the Yōkai as a collective were not originally planned to be the topic of this week's episode. Instead, it was the Oni, which is a specific type of Yōkai. There are a few types of Yōkai that I plan on covering on this podcast, so I figured it would be a better idea to start with the general concept rather than the variations. Now, when the Oni episode comes out, we should all have a better understanding of what exactly Oni are. But anyways, what are Yōkai? Before we get into what Yōkai are, it is important to clear the air a bit and define what they aren't. A commonly held misbelief here in the West is that Yōkai are either ghosts, monsters, or demons. This isn't accurate. These creatures could all be considered Yōkai, but as a whole, Yōkai are hard to define with the Western tongue. There isn't a set definition, but it is best to view Yōkai as any supernatural entity or occurrence. However, there is actually a specific word for ghosts, which is yurei. This quote from Yōkai.com perfectly summarizes the issue with Yōkai in the West. It is a broad and vague term, and nothing exists in the English language that quite describes it. Yōkai is one of those words like samurai, geisha, ninja, and sushi that is best left in its native tongue. The word for Yōkai is thought to be a loan word from Chinese culture. The word Yao Gai is used as the term for monsters. Quick interjection, the mutated black bears from the Fallout series share this name. The show recently came out and the timing of this episode just happened to be perfect for this. There are a colossal amount of words to classify specific types of Yōkai. Tales of Yōkai have been around for centuries. Certain stories have been linked to the 700s. Yōkai are closely associated with both Shintoism and Taoism. Over time, the way these entities were depicted changed. With the Edo period, Yōkai started to get more characterized. A lot of non-traditional Yōkai were also invented during this period. With there being such a large variety, the goals of Yōkai aren't always the same. However, a good portion of them aren't very nice to people. As I stated earlier, in the future we will be covering a few Yōkai. So far I only have 3 picked out, but they all bring something special to the table. I'm not going to get too into these descriptions, so just think of these as teasers. In a few weeks we will actually talk about the Oni. Oni are orc-like figures that reside in caves or mountains. Kappa are hard to describe as they are pretty unique looking. Imagine a lizard person, but it also has turtle and frog elements. The slit-mouthed woman, also known as Kuchisaki Anna, is an entity similar to Billy the Puppet from Saw. This will make more sense when we get to that episode. Though these are the only planned episodes, I'm not set on only this group, as there are a ton of Yōkai that could be examined. In the modern age, Yōkai are often painted in a very light-hearted way. This isn't to say that their image is completely positive, but it is definitely a lot more common nowadays. The Yōkai Watch series is basically Pokemon, but with Yōkai. A lot of Studio Ghibli films also frequently contain Yōkai. If you enjoyed this brief analysis, please consider sticking around for more. Next Sunday, we will be exploring the myth of beast that inhabits the Himalayas. I hope this episode has given you a solid foundation on what Yōkai are. After all, you will need it very soon. There are a lot of differing opinions on the topic, but I tried to generalize the information that was presented. Our sources are linked in the show notes. If you've got any suggestions or tips for our future episodes, please contact us at our email spookynoodlespod@gmail.com or at our Twitter @spookynoodles. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. Make sure to keep your taste for horror alive by watching the next episode of Spooky Noodles on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or YouTube. Thank you for listening.